I know that Walter Isaacson, I recently interviewed him briefly, says that there may be a biopic in the works. He said that Benedict Cumberbatch should play Elon. So I want to know, who do you think should play Elon and who would you want to play you?
Wait, maybe I should tell you who this guy is if you don't recognize him and why a movie is being made about him and Elon Musk in the journey of SpaceX. If you don't recognize him, I'm sure you appreciate his work. Tom Mueller is one of, if not the most important person outside of Elon Musk to SpaceX's success. Tom designed the Merlin engine, the sturdy backbone of the Falcon 9, which we know runs like clockwork today. This was one amazing interview, and I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you so much for making time for this. I really appreciate it.
I love your content. Great to join.
I've been looking forward to talking to you for a long time. And you went to LMU?
Yes, I did. I got my master's degree there in mechanical engineering.
Okay, so did I. I did not get a master's degree, but
Well,
kind of
I'm sure I was probably a decade or two ahead of you.
yeah. I reached out to you a while back and I wanted to reach out again because one of your posts on X caught my attention. Obviously, Impulse Space has a focus on safe orbital space. Your team
Yeah.
recently avoided a collision with a dead CubeSat in space. So, how were you able to do that and why is this important to you?
It's important because space debris is a huge problem. So everybody needs to be good stewards of space. If you have propulsion, you need to be ready to maneuver. The way it happens is the Air Force gives us a warning and said, hey, there could be a conjunction. So we had a heads up. And then once we knew there was a conjunction, like some small probability of us hitting this dead CubeSat, within 24 hours, we're able to use propulsion to make a little move. And it turns out that it doesn't take very much because you have hours or days ahead of time of warning. So just less than a meter per second, just a very small tweak, and it moves you enough that you miss. So it's pretty cool.
And this was over the holidays while a lot of
Yeah,
us not paying attention to this.
we had a skeleton crew there, and they were able to deliver. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, how many people do you have working at Impulse?
Around 90, maybe between 90 and 100 now. We're hiring
Wow.
quite a few right now for Helios, so we're growing fast.
Is it a similar working environment to SpaceX?
Yes, very much so.
Very
We're
cool.
kind of consider ourselves an elite team like SpaceX. That SpaceX has really lowered the cost of access to low Earth orbit and above. We want to continue that and lower the cost of access and greatly increase the ability to do missions well above the high energy missions like to GEO, to the moon and Mars, or where the JWST is. So that's our vision.
You recently launched your first vehicle, Mira, on a SpaceX rocket. What is that like to have that come full circle?
It's really cool. Yeah, it's amazing. It's the most reliable vehicle in history now. It's really something I'm really proud of. I still feel like I'm a SpaceXer because of all the contributions that myself and my team have made over the years. An even crazier mission will be when VAST flies their space station coming up, I think, next year. That will be all impulse engines that I designed on like 48 of them, 48 thrusters, safe thrusters on the vast space station, and then all the engines on Falcon 9 that I designed too. I think this will be the first time in history the launch vehicle and the spacecraft will have all engines that were initially designed by one person. So that's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to that one.
Wow. Of course, I want to talk about Helios. I know this is embargoed, but this is, pre-recorded. Let's talk about Helios, your second vehicle in your fleet.
Helios is now going to be our prime mover. Mira is our LEO transport. It's got enough delta V to be able to move around well in LEO, but it doesn't have the impulse to move something from LEO up to geostationary, to this 36,000 kilometer orbit. Helios does that. Helios can move 5 metric tons, so 5,000 kilograms, from low Earth orbit, dropped off there by a medium launch vehicle like a Falcon 9, or medium or larger launch vehicle like for example Falcon 9. And then Helios has a big engine, a 15,000 pound thrust engine, which is a pretty big space engine, much larger than typically used for these orbital transfer missions. So in 2 burns, it can take that 5 tons from low Earth orbit directly to geostationary orbit. So in a day, you can have your satellite in geostationary orbit. And the way to do that now, if you want to do it in a day, would be to buy like a Falcon Heavy or now a Vulcan. Those 2 vehicles are capable of going directly to geo, but those are much more expensive vehicles than flying single stick Falcon 9.
Do you mind if we go back in time a little bit?
No, not at all.
Okay. Did the Merlin engine influence the Raptor design in any way? If so, how?
They're quite different, different cycles, different propellants, but certainly everything we learned on Merlin, especially about how to make a reliable engine, which is by far the most reliable engine in history at this point. 10 of them fly, 10 of them operate on every Falcon 9 launch. So definitely all the things we learned about turbopumps, injectors, especially the combustion chamber, which is the most thermally stressed part of the engine, all that applies to Raptor, like how we optimize those things and how we make them reliable definitely applies to Raptor. But Merlin is liquid injection with a pintle injector. Raptor is gas in the main injector with multi-coax. So quite a bit different as far as the nuts and bolts of the main combustor. But a lot of the other stuff, the valve technology that we use, which valves are a very important part of spacecraft and rockets. So having reliable valves is super important. So all those things that we learned through the decades of Falcon 1 and Falcon 9 development definitely apply. You can see the increasing reliability from the early Raptor, from the early flights of Starship to the more recent ones. Just very rapid progress. So they've got the right sauce.
What has it been like to watch Starship development?
Oh, awesome. Like, amazing. I haven't got down to Starbase yet, too, which is kind of embarrassing, but I know you hang out there a lot.
Yeah. Wow. You have to go.
Yes, I have to go. Yes.
It's definitely worth it. I say even if there's not a launch, and it looks like they may be starting to close off some of the access. It's hard to tell, but so these are some questions from my viewers. They kind of are in a weird order, but what is your absolute hardest impossible can't be done challenge that you overcame thanks to Elon's insistence that it could be done?
It's hard to think of. I'm thinking of one that's probably not the hardest, but the one thing we did, which I think was the key to making the Merlin 1D what it is, like super reliable, super easy to manufacture, super efficient, was the phase shutoff injector, which was the first time that a very large engine had done that. And I talked about that with Elon, and he said, "Let's just do it." Like, and I'm just like, man, there's going to be a lot of problems developing this at this size. You're basically putting the valves into the injector and getting rid of a lot of systems, but you're putting all the action right in the place where gigawatts of energy are released. And it was hard, but it wasn't as hard as I feared, and it turned out to be the right thing to do. So that was probably one giant step that we took that I was pretty nervous about. That Elon just said, "Come on, sack up, let's do it." That was the right call.
Well, tell me, I know that Walter Isaacson, I recently interviewed him briefly, says that there may be a biopic in the works. He said that Benedict Cumberbatch should play Elon. So I want to know, who do you think should play Elon, and who would you want to play you?
Oh my lord! Oh jeez, these are hard. Maybe Cillian Murphy could play me because he's kind of intense and he's tall and thin like me. So
I could see
and I
that.
really liked Oppenheimer. He did a great job in that. So that would be an honor to have him play me. And Elon, I need a big guy. As you know, Elon's over 6 feet tall and pretty husky. So you need some. I don't know. I'm coming up blank on that one, but
You think Benedict Cumberbatch?
sure, yeah,
Maybe Liam Neeson. I don't know.
yeah. I
That might be a good one.
Yeah, I don't know. So some great actor because Elon's quite a character, like right, like just like Oppenheimer. So there's a lot there. So
Yeah. But I would love to see the story made into a movie. Your
oh,
story
for
is
sure,
incredible.
there's going to be movies made about Elon. I mean, obviously, so this would be the first of many. Yeah, I mean, Elon
Or
historically is so important.
just the early days of SpaceX. I mean, your commute to
There's already books
watch,
about it. There's going to be movies. There's already
right.
been a Netflix series that was proposed. I mean, it's a giant story in space. It's becoming the story. It's like why did the space industry change so much? Because of what we did, what Elon and us guys did at SpaceX. It's changed the industry for good and really helped America stay the leader in space. Like we got
Right.
we got a huge head start on everybody because of commercial space.
Are you happy you don't have to commute to Kwajalein Atoll anymore?
Yeah, I've got the shortest commute I've had in my career now. There's the old joke like somehow the optimum place to put your company is close to the founder's house. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got like a
That's just
six minute drive of surface streets to get here. It's great.
it's just crazy to me how far you guys had to go to even have a shot at trying to make Falcon 1 work.
Luckily, I didn't go that often, and when I did, I often flew on Elon's on the private jet that was kind of doing the transport back and forth. But a couple times I had to fly the commercial hop through the islands, and a lot of the guys that go back and forth a lot had to do that flight, and it was pretty terrible. As you heard the stories of Kwajalein, it's kind of like the old joke. It's a paradise for the first week or two, and then it's misery. If you stay there for much longer. So,
Yeah.
it, but what I mean, what an experience! It's pretty crazy.
Someone wants to know about the similarities and differences in work culture and approach to innovation at SpaceX and Impulse Space.
I think we're maybe not pushing as hard as Elon pushes SpaceX. A lot of the guys, like myself, a lot of the guys that I've hired that are SpaceX veterans were pretty much reached burnout at SpaceX. So we're trying to set a more sustainable pace and keep people here. But definitely very smart, dedicated people, definitely a meritocracy. Really the sort of like the special forces type mentality, very
Right.
much like SpaceX, with just a little bit of the heat taken off. But
Well,
high,
as you know,
definitely high expectations from everybody.
SpaceX is pretty fast and loose. NASA is pretty, careful and cautious. Where would you put your approach in between those two extremes?
We got to be pretty cautious because we can't just go out and just do a demo without buying an expensive launch vehicle. For Helios, especially, we're what I call a premium product. Like we're basically adding a third stage to the most reliable launch vehicle ever flown. So we just got to not cut any corners, not do like in early development. Of course, we do whatever we can do as fast as possible. But as we get closer and closer to launch, there should be a lot of testing, a lot of analysis, fueling and unfueling the stage many times, putting a lot of time on the engines, just making sure that it is the most reliable upper stage ever. It's going to be quite different than like go fly your rocket and see if it works, and if it crashes, it's on you.
Or if it blows up?
Yeah, we can't have that because we're sitting at the human space flight pad on a Falcon 9. It's got to be perfect.
Well, tell me what some of the challenges were of scaling up from Falcon 1 to Falcon 9.
Isaacson actually gave me the credit of the one that suggested Falcon 9. Like, let's just tie together 9 engines. I didn't think it was gonna be that big a deal. A lot of people were super nervous about a multi-engine thing, and I just couldn't see interactions between the engines or the system being too bad. So I was always a proponent of, like, we were trying to develop a 2 million pound engine, the Merlin 2. It was just we hit lots of roadblocks, both in just in manufacturing cost and mass. And so I came to the point where I think you're better off to have multiple smaller engines that have engine out capability than one giant engine that if it fails, you're mission over. And I think that's the right way. And then what we didn't realize then was that allows you to land your boosters, because now you don't have to have the engine have to throttle down to like 2% or something to land on like a single engine. You can just land on one engine up 9. So you're already throttled 10-1 almost just by having a single engine. So it all worked out perfect in the end. But it was the right step to just take what we developed for Falcon 1 and then have multiples. And then that engine, it's about a 10-1 ratio of the upper stage engine. So you just take that engine, put it upstairs, basically. So it's not a different engine. It's the same engine you're flying on the first stage with the bigger nozzles and some changes for vacuum operation. But now your reliability base is on the same engine. So it's a great architecture. It worked out perfect.
Yeah, and it's just like clockwork now. It's crazy.
Unbelievable, really. I mean, I never thought that this thing would be able to fly over 250 times, I think, without failure, or it's 200 and some time. It's just unbelievable. Rockets can't fly that off without fail, but here it is.
Well, and you're such a big part of that. You must be.
I'm super proud of what we accomplished there. It's like, I mean, even if Impulse doesn't do anything beyond what we've done already, I could be proud the rest of my life about what we achieved at SpaceX. It's the gift that keeps on giving to have that thing fly and be so successful. And also, the Starship and Raptor to continue like a fully reusable vehicle is super important. Future's just getting started. The space future is just really just getting started.
Well, some people, I'm sure you've answered this, but some people don't know why you chose to leave SpaceX.
When I became the CTO, I was able to get out of the heat. I was responsible for making 400 engines a year, and every engine test, every propulsion test, every stage test, I was on the hook for if anything failed. And it wasn't my forte to run an army of people to building stuff. I just wanted to go develop an engine and do cool stuff with a small team. So Elon graciously, with a lot of negotiation, allowed me to step down and become propulsion CTO. Zero reports, zero schedule, hook, just help start development of the Starlink electric propulsion. And then I basically I sized what became Starship. It was BFR at the time, and Elon just said, first thing I want you to do is go figure out what it would take to take 100 tons to Mars. So I did the architecture study, started sizing that. So I was doing fun stuff. Then I figured out how to get to Mars, and with hydrogen. And then I figured out, oh, if you have hydrogen, you really should convert it to on Mars. You should convert it to methane. And I came back and told Elon, hey, it's half the cost or half the cost per ton to Mars if we go switch to methane. So we switched it. And then it's like, okay, how do you make propellant on Mars and how much energy do you need? So I was doing that. I was working on all of that stuff and not working on Raptor. And then about, I don't know, say 2018 or so, it's like we were spending so much money on Starship and Starlink. It's like we don't have the money right now, and the schedules have moved out, that we're not going to work on power on Mars and making propellant on Mars. That's keeping pushed out. So I basically ran out of work to do and was kind of getting bored. And Raptor was already kind of done. I was helping with that, and I went on call. My dad was sick from Alzheimer's, and so I basically disconnected. And then it was just time to go do something on my own.
Yeah. Wow. And can you tell us about your experience working with Elon Musk and how you two first met?
Yeah, I mean, the story's been told many times. I was doing amateur rocket stuff, even though I worked at TRW for 15 years. I was the manager of the rocket engine development there. It was really through the amateur rocket club that I got introduced to Elon. The amateur stuff we were doing out in the desert, out by right next to FAR, which everybody knows about, but the Reaction Research Society is where I was vice president of that club for a long time, doing a lot of liquid stuff there. Was how I got introduced to Elon, and we started talking about the stuff I'd done at TRW, like the 650,000 pound engine, and I think he saw that I was pretty optimistic about building big engines. So when he decided to start SpaceX, I was the first one to sign. That's how I became employee number one in payroll, because I was the first one to say, yeah, but I'm ready to go do this. I haven't been 15 years at a TRW, now Northrop Grumman, a huge corporation. It was quite different. It was quite refreshing. No bureaucracy, no BS, just get it done at minimum cost and fast as possible. Elon really just drove rapid development, first principles, take risk. Really refreshing. I was all for that. I was a pariah at TRW. I was always the one pushing too hard. People thought, oh, this young kid's like too crazy. I was not actually a good fit there, because it's a really conservative company, and I kind of was unleashed at SpaceX to go do cool stuff. It was the right decision to go do that, and look what happened. It was really, really cool.
Changed your life, changed the space industry forever.
Yeah. Yep. Like, best thing I ever did was said, yes, I'm in.
One of my viewers wanted to know, why do you think it's taking so long for other companies to catch up what SpaceX has done?
It's just so hard. I think also you need a leader like SpaceX. Like, I've helped other companies. I helped a nuclear company, and they wanted to be like SpaceX, but they weren't willing to put the heat to nuclear guys are really hard to get, so we can't be too rough. And I'm like, well, then you're not going to be a SpaceX. So you got to have a leader like Elon. That's one of the things, just to drive rapid development and take risks, hire the right people, and be willing to fire the people that aren't performing. And that puts the word out that, hey, if you don't perform, you're not going to be around too long. And all of a sudden, you just have special forces doing the right thing, and not everybody can get there. And Elon just had the right magic to pull together the A team and make it happen. But we showed the way to do it, and people are following. Maybe not quite as successful, but I think other companies are coming along that are going to get there. And SpaceX, frankly, SpaceX needs the competition. It's like they're doing great, but somebody needs to come give them a run for it.
In your opinion, what are the most significant challenges that need to be overcome to achieve a sustainable and thriving human presence on Mars?
First of all, to close the Starship loop is refueling in space, which is in work. That's going to be a huge part of it. And then now you'll have the transport there. Then you'll need power on Mars. I mean, habitats on Mars are so difficult. Like domes, how do you seal the ground? SpaceX should just provide the transportation. They need a lot of help from everybody else to build the cities, to build the power, everything
Right.
else. It's like one company can't do all that. It's planetary engineering.
Right.
It needs the whole world to work on it.
When do you think we might not only just get there, but have like a presence?
I think we'll get there pretty soon. In the next few cycles, hopefully. It could take a long time to really have a sustained colony there, I think. Elon's trying to do it, what, in 3 decades now? Be
Yeah.
sustainable, but I don't know. That sounds probably maybe in the cards. If he gets help, if other people jump in and help. I know Relativity wants to help and others, you know.
It seems like Elon time a little bit.
Yeah, yes. There is that Elon factor, right? But it used to be 2.2. I don't know what it is these days.
Do you still like maybe give advice to SpaceX, or does Elon reach out to you for your opinion on things?
Not too much. Elon's so busy right now; it's hard to get his attention. He's up doing his thing, and we're doing ours.
One of my viewers wanted to know, since the Merlin engine development and great success, what do you feel has been the biggest achievement in engine design?
Oh, Raptor for sure.
Yeah.
Full flow, stage combustion, very high performance, very good thrust to weight. The ultimate chemical booster. It's like I think that's the right propellants, definitely the right propellants, and the right cycle. That's kind of the ultimate engine. To get beyond that, is going to take a new technology.
So I'm here at CES. A big focus is AI. So one of my viewers wanted to know, how do you think the role of artificial intelligence will evolve in the aerospace industry, and do you see it playing a larger role in the future of space exploration?
It's going to be huge. It's in everything, right? It's in design. It's going to be embedded in everything. I mean, it's developing faster than people make the case of these things these programs that can generate art were, a couple of years ago about like a toddler, and now they're doing professional level, like your toddler hasn't evolved that fast. So in many other ways, it's developing so much faster than humans. So it's really hard to predict where it's going to be, even the next year, let alone 10 years. It's going to be pervasive in space, and the systems we build, and the way we design the systems, and the robotics that we use in space. It's going to really help colonize Mars. I mean, right now, colonizing Mars is such a tall order. It's like probably the hardest problem ever solved, and the AI is needed to help do that.
Yeah, I know that's, obviously they're developing the Tesla bot, and I feel like that's one of the best applications for it.
I mean, now you're seeing not only the digital mind, but you're also seeing the artificial life, the mechanisms.
So I want to go back to Impulse Space as we wrap up here. You are obviously hiring. I have a lot of people, some people that work for SpaceX that watch my channel, just some people that are aspiring engineers in the space industry. So any more plugs that you want to make about Impulse Space, or what you're looking for?
We got one of the best teams in industry. We're doing some of the coolest stuff in industry. We're hiring in all areas. So go, we have the jobs site on our website. Go there and sign up.
What is your vision for Impulse over the next decade?
To do what I talked about at the very beginning, to be like the SpaceX of in space, the go-to guys. You want to move something in space, you want something big, you want to move around, you want to go land on the moon, you want to go land on Mars, you want to go out to Lagrangian points, you want to go to the outer planets. We have all the parts to put together a system to do that. High performance engine, propellant tanks, valves, avionics, software. We'll do it. Go-to guys for moving stuff in space.
Awesome.
As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I've waited a long time for this interview, and Tom says next time I'm in Southern California, I'm welcome to tour Impulse Space in person. So that'll be a really great video you can look forward to, and that might happen sometime this spring. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to help support the Ellie in Space channel, please make sure to subscribe. And if you want to go a step further, please consider checking out my Patreon or my X account, where you can subscribe and support there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.